Well, we knew it was going to be a gunfight. NC State wins a shootout 35-31. Kurt Roper, you know he brought the strap.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? Whoa, what just happened? There it goes. What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Saturday post-game live is brought to you by FanDuel. Football is now here, and we are more than excited to get in a little bit more action this football season. Head on over to the FanDuel app today and start planning all of your weekend's bets right now. That's FanDuel.com in order to get started. What's up, Wolfpack Nation? What a thrilling win this was on Saturday. NC State moves to 2-0, 35-31 win over the UVA Cavaliers. Kent, in this game, let me introduce ourselves first. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, this game went virtually verbatim exactly how we said it would. We knew it would be a four-quarter affair. We knew it would be back and forth. We knew UVA was coming to Raleigh to score points. They did. The question was, could the secondary hold up enough, and could NC State's offense put up enough points to win? Secondary got a little dicey there. We knew that Kean Sloan's not in the secondary, but he made the game-winning interception, and the offense was able to put up 35 points. NC State moves to 2-0. Your initial thoughts?
I mean, we asked for better coverage from our secondary, and the defensive ends, the rush edges, they said you were concerned about us rushing the passer coming into the season. Don't worry about it. Not only will we rush the passer, we will also be your only interceptors of the first two games of the season. Because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, we all saw what was happening in that game in terms of the back and forth nature of it, and the fact that it just every time the thought was there to put your foot on the defense's neck. I can't even blame Kurt Roper's play calling, because I think he put on a fantastic display of play calling. It was literally, I said they need to run a drive concept with Joe Lee as the first read, and they ran exactly that, and it pops open. But before CJ Bailey brings his, or literally right when CJ Bailey brings his eyes down from read number 1 to read 2, pressure's getting there. He can't step into the pass, but everybody saw Grimes is wide open underneath. If you get him the ball there, he goes for a first down. So, I look at this game and I see a game that went down a lot like how I thought it would. There were certain things that were worse than I thought they'd be, certain things that were better than I thought they'd be. All in all, I've got to say I'm happy with this win, and I'm happy with the fact that while I was very close on score, number one, I was wrong about the score. Happy about that. Happy about being wrong about the winner as well. But more than anything else, I'm happy to be wrong about the fact that we could not run the ball effectively. That is the thing that I'm most happy to be wrong about, because we dominated the line of scrimmage. And not only that, Hollywood is who Hollywood is. He does as Hollywood does. He has those moments where if you give him a crease, he's going to show the skill. But even if you don't give him a crease, he'll break a few tackles and give you the most exciting 3-yard gain you've ever seen. So there was a lot to be had in this game, a lot of meat on the bone in this game. All in all, I'm happy to walk away with the win. 2-0 is better than 1-1. And this was not a 1-1 where you let your foot, or this is not a 2-0 where you let your foot off the gas again. This is a 2-0 where you had to come back. This is a 2-0 where the only thing that I would say old habits are coming back is the way that we went into the second half. That is the only thing. The way that we went into halftime, I said, this is a during clock disaster class. We're always due for a good one. But other than that, everything else was like, these are problems that we foresaw coming. We foresaw a lot of the problems that we had, kind of being there and whatnot. And so, again, 2-0, better than 0-2, better than 1-1. I've got to take it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into some of the gripes, but the overall feeling here is that's a good win. Virginia, They look a lot more solid of a program than they typically are. And so I do think, even though it is the connotation around Virginia football is not that great, that's a good win for CJ Bailey. That's a good win for Hollywood Smothers. the rest of the offense, Coach Doran, the defense, that's a good win for the NC State Wolfpack. So the overall feeling is happy to escape with a win in this one. And then, again, there's some problems in this game. A lot of good though. The overall good, I think, outweighed the bad. Last week felt like the opposite. So just good to see the offense firing on, I would say, almost all cylinders. It was a great offensive performance. CJ threw for 200. We ran for another 216 on the ground, 416 yards of total offense. I think we had 4 rushing touchdowns in this game. That was a little bit surprising, but not so surprising when you have a guy like Hollywood Smothers in the backfield. 17 carries for 140 and 2 touchdowns for number 3. The offense, this was the type of performance we knew that we could do. We knew that we were capable of putting up 400-plus yards of offense. We knew that we were capable of Hollywood Smothers breaking out long runs. I think his longest was 57 today. I thought he was going to house it, but he kind of ran out of gas there. The offense looked like this is the offense we were supposed to be getting. And so that was great. I want to give a round of applause to Kurt Roper. I thought he called a great game today, outside of 2 plays. But if it's only 2 plays, you're not going to hear me complain about it. I thought Kurt Roper dialed up a great game offensively, scheme-wise. I know they were rotating in. I think it was 3 different right guards over the course of the game. The offensive line looked much, much better today than they did last week. You were able to get push. Hollywood was able to find lanes. Duke Scott almost broke off a couple as well. How about CJ taking 2 into the house by himself? I think one was a 30-yard rush. Second one was probably closer to 15-ish. He had great vision on both of those runs. The offense was spectacular today. Love to see that.
CJ Bailey is becoming what I like to call a game changer because he's a math changer, right? Yeah. I tell people all the time, football is nothing more than a math equation. And there were many times where Virginia defensively won the math equation, right? You get a free unblocked corner, nickel, off the edge, streaming, smoking down on the quarterback. The math says 1 for 1 cancels out. Boom, the play's dead where you get to that quarterback. Instead, CJ Bailey just very gently says, "Excuse me, sir, do you mind if I take your ankles with me to the end zone?" Takes a step inside, takes a step outside, and then gets himself to the end zone there. So I look at this and I say, CJ Bailey is becoming a young man right before our eyes that we can look at and we can say, we can expect him now to make those game-changing plays to the positive. Remember last year at the end of the Wake Forest game and many other games, we said, hey, I don't want to leave the game on a true freshman and say, I'm expecting you to do this. Even now, first half of your sophomore year, I still don't want to expect a true sophomore to be the math changer of the equation. But he's proven that he can be that. He's proven that multiple times. I remember there was a 3rd down where they had 2 unblocked rushers, and he eludes one of them. And actually, no, he eluded both of them until a 3rd guy comes in and gets him down a yard short of a 1st down. That's the type of stuff that I talk about when I say, what is a game changer? He's a guy that makes the calculus different. He makes the numbers different. And CJ Bailey is starting to do that. We knew Hollywood Smothers is going to make the numbers different. You cannot tackle him one-on-one. If your thought is we're going to get one guy to the ball and we're going to tackle Hollywood Smothers, I love that for you. Great plan. I love it. Whoever, give me any linebacker in the country. Him and Hollywood in the open field, I feel great about that game plan if you feel great about it, buddy. We knew Justin Jolie, a guy that we were clamoring for, get him the ball, get him the ball, get him the ball. When we started to fall behind and the offense started to stagnate, we had Justin Jolie's 2 or 3 biggest plays of the game going forward at that point. So this was a lot of what we expected to see. This was a lot of, you and I talked about the fact that, we are in the ACC, but we were going to have some Big 12-ish games, and this was one of them.
I told you.
And this is, to come out on top of it, that's all you can ask for, because like we had said all offseason, we don't expect much from the defense. This is what not expecting much from the defense looks like, unfortunately. Yeah. It does hurt to see that some of our linebackers that have been here for a while are now looking like they don't understand run fits either. It does hurt to say that. But we knew, don't come in expecting this offense to say, hey, don't come in expecting this defense to be the defenses of old where we're giving up 20, maybe 17 points per game. Not that.
Yeah, CJ really came on stronger at the end of last season. I would put this performance, today's game, I'd put that in the hat for his best game yet as a part of the NC State football team. I thought He was excellent in making his decisions downfield.
Yeah.
Took his throws when he needed to make a risky throw. He still made it in there. Again, 6 carries for 44 yards. Even though I'm not crazy about him running the ball, when you have the field vision that he had today, you'll never hear me complain about it. Went untouched virtually on almost all of his runs today. Getting in the end zone twice, he was outstanding. And the last piece before we go to break here, what makes CJ better is an offensive line that is better. I want to give a ton of credit to NC State's offensive line today, both in the run block and the pass block. We didn't get sacked a single time today. That's how you keep CJ clean and allow him to do his job. And that allows the wide receivers to do their job. It allows Hollywood Smothers to do his job. That is a connected, cohesive, importantly knowledgeable, like they know what they're doing on offense. That's what it looks like today. So I thought the offensive line was great. CJ was great. Hollywood Smothers went off. The offense was spectacular. So we're going to get into a quick ad break. We'll talk about some of the gripes we had today. There were some on the defensive end. We'll talk about why. Let's go to ad break. 1 second. Our first live sponsor of our Saturday show is Upside. Wolfpack fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Well, if you are, you're leaving money behind. You can get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play Store today, and you can start earning cash back at the pump. You can use our limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 per year just buying the gas that you've already needed. At first, you might sound like it's a little too good to be true, but I'm here to promise you it is completely legit. Real people are getting paid to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal account, or e-gift card or Amazon gift card, and several other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time additional 25% gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL on the Upside app. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Middle portion of our post-game live here on Saturday, NC State does defeat the UVA Cavaliers 35-31. We spent the majority of the time so far talking about CJ Bailey and the offense. They had a spectacular day at the office. Let's talk about the defense. It was very much like to the last play, bend but don't break. Early in the game, like Kenton was alluding to, I spent the majority of this offseason saying, I get the gut feeling that most of our games this year, because of the uncertainty on the defensive side of the ball, it's going to be old school Big 12 style football. And for those that are unfamiliar what that means, they never played any defense back in like the 2010s, the early 2010s of Big 12. We're talking like 48-45, 52-41, like ridiculous scores. I'm not saying that we'll get to that level this year with NC State, but you got a taste of that today. 35-31 for, the most of the game. It felt like whoever had the ball last was going to win this game. Whoever had the most opportunities to score was going to end up being victorious. And so UVA's defense, we were able to, manage for the most part, but our defense on the ground, giving up 3 touchdowns to Jamari Taylor, 257 yards on the ground for UVA. That's got to get cleaned up. It has to get cleaned up. Chandler Morris, pretty good day at the office as well. He was 30 of 43 for 257 and a touchdown. However, the last throw that he made today was the game winner for the Wolfpack. Shout out to Kean Sloan. Talk about stepping up when your team needs somebody to step up. That was a game-winning turnover when we needed it the most. But the defense, Kenton, it was iffy today. What were your thoughts?
Grayson, remember what I said about this defense all offseason? They just need to be opportunistic.
Yes.
Opportunistic. I don't need dominant. I need opportunistic. Do you know how many points they allowed in the second half?
I know the fourth quarter was 0. I want to say, let me do the math. Was it 7?
Correct. They allowed 7 points in the entire second half.
We'll take that.
Don't get me wrong. Am I saying that this defense was perfect or dominant or were stifling in the second half? No. But they were better than it looks when you look at that final score, number one. And number two, to me, the biggest problem with our defense wasn't even our defense. As much as I love Caden Newcastle and special teams, why under God's green earth are you punting to the ACC Special Teams Player of the Week from the week before who's already bust off a 50-yarder against you?
Yeah.
After that, hey, he's everything we thought he was. So let's hey, Kate, we don't need you to get it deep. We need you to get it out of bounds. That's my charge to you, brother. Get it about 35 and out of bounds. That's all I can ask you for. If you get those two things accomplished, I'll take that. I'll take that. Because a lot of those drives, if we really want to be honest about it, NC State, absolutely. We gave up a few first downs. Yes, for sure. Look at the starting field possession of a lot of those drives. These are not drives that were starting from inside their 15, inside their 20, and they're driving, and then we finally get a stop. There was one or two like that, but more likely than not, it was they got a big return, and they were put in position to get an easy score, and that's what ended up happening, again, especially in the second half. So the defense was opportunistic enough. And honestly, I'm not going to berate a defense that I did not expect to be good. Do you have to be better against the run? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not going to argue, hey, what you did was good enough. Do you have to be better against the pass as well? Absolutely. You made Chandler Morris look like a superstar up until that last play of the game, dropping interceptions even before that. That's part of being an opportunistic defense. That's part of doing that bend but don't break thing. The whole premise behind it is you make the offense do it right time after time after time after time again. And then the minute that they get it wrong, you intercept one. The minute that they get it wrong, you recover a fumble. The lateral that was called a forward pass and not reviewed for whatever reason, that was another moment where it was like, all right, the turnover bone should have came out there, but cool. And then there was a dropped interception later in the game that I believe would have led to points had they not missed a field goal. I believe they missed a field goal on the same drive that we dropped that interception. But the reality is, I'm not going to berate this defense and talk about them as if they're worse than what I expected them to be, when this was about what I expected. This was about what I saw coming in this offseason. I mean, could the play calling be better? For sure. Could we have a situation where we're not seeing our inside guys get absolutely whooped in terms of inside and outside zone and late downs? How you allow a team to convert as many third and longs as we did. It's a statistical anomaly how many times they were able to convert from 3rd and 6 or longer. So am I saying that this defense played good? No. Am I going to be giving them attaboys and high fives all throughout the film study? No. I know that this film study is going to make me want to throw up. I know that. I know I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to see some run fits. I'm going to see some linebackers spinning out of blocks the wrong way, which why are you spinning out of a block against the run in the first place? But we're not going to go there right now. I know it's going to make me pretty upset, but I expected that coming into this season. The offense did what they were expected to do. The defense did what they were expected to do. I would just hope for a little bit more capitalizing on those opportunities when they come. And obviously the refs hopefully won't be an impediment to that by blowing potential fumbles dead and not reviewing it on the back end. Hopefully that happens in games in the future. But with that being said, all in all, the defense was about what I thought.
Yeah, I think you make a great point on at times it's hard to get that frustrated because we spent like 8 months talking about how this defense is, I don't know, there's not a lot of confidence there. I think the offense is going to have to carry the way. And so now to get like bent out of shape that the defense is having trouble getting off the field, it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of what we've been talking about for so long. So it's just like the personification of that idea. It gets frustrating because you can't get off the field on
Right.
third down. Like I'll be 100% honest. I stopped tracking it because I was getting really irritated. But the first 5 of 6 third downs that UVA had, all 6 of those were like 3rd and 5 or longer. And if you want to zoom in even further, I think 4 were like 3rd and 9 or longer. And they were converting 5 out of 6 of their first third downs. Just rip your hair out, irritating. I think they ended up 13 of 19 for the entire game. So you got marginally better as you went on, but 13 of 19 third down conversions. NC State on offense was only 1 of 7. So that alone, like, it's kind of shocking that you were able to escape with a win here with that being considered. I mean, UVA putting up 514 total yards in this game. I mean, reverting back to the original point, what did you really expect from the NC State defense? That's, I think, close to 1,000 total yards in 2 games. That's not your strong suit this year. We know what the strong suit is. It's being opportunistic on the defensive end and scoring the ball when you have the ball. So today's game was like the true encapsulation of kind of everything. I don't want to say like manifesting, but like what we've been talking about for months now. The offense is going to have to take the reins, like take control of this game and say, okay, defense, we see that, you're doing your best. It's not going that well. It's up to us now. CJ Bailey, it's on me now. Hollywood Smothers, it's on me now. Justin Jolie, I got us. Like, that's going to have to be the mindset moving forward. Because to be honest with you, what you're saying about the run fits, run fits. That's going to give me PTSD for the next 6 days or 5 days, whenever we play again. The run fits I saw today from our defense defending against the run, no bueno. Bad. Our linebackers at times were completely lost. And I don't want to call them out specifically by name, but there was a couple that were nowhere close to where they needed to be, like running into essentially a mosh pit, and the running back is going the complete opposite direction for 60 yards.
Yeah,
that has to get cleaned up. And so that was my biggest overall gripe. Again, I'm happy here. This is a good win. You escape with the win. You're 2-0. Could be far worse. But again, what did you expect? We told you the defense is going to struggle. They're going through it. They're growing week to week, but they're growing through it. That's how that last interception by Kean Sloan, that is the pinnacle of the opportunistic defense. That's the pinnacle. Hopefully it doesn't happen on the last play of the game to win the game, but imagine if that happened, let's say in the first half, before UVA. This will lead us into the clock management discussion. In the first half, imagine if that came before UVA was able to score that touchdown before half. It might have completely changed the dynamic, and NC State runs away with it in the second half, but it didn't happen that way. The opportunity created on defense is going to have to flow directly into additional cohesive offense. That's going to have to be the story of the game. All right, you want to talk about the time management? It was bad. It was bad in the first half. That was my second biggest gripe. I'll lay it out for you. How you don't take any of your 3 timeouts before halftime, and you get a punt, you go 3 and out, you give it back to them, and you punt it to their most dangerous player on their entire team. He takes it almost the whole way back, takes it past half field, and you give UVA a great chance to score a touchdown before half. And at that point, there was about 2 minutes-ish. And you proceed to just let them bleed the clock, no timeout. And they score with 17 seconds left to go up 10 at halftime. And I know there's already the notion that, well, what did you expect? We're probably going to knee it out anyway. Well, at that point, you gave yourself zero choice. If you had a minute and 17 seconds, maybe you can try and go get a field goal at the very least. You shot yourself in the foot there, and you basically just allowed UVA a 10-point lead. Like, we'll figure it out in the second half. That's a dangerous game to be playing. That is playing with fire. We've already been burned by that too many times.
The announcer, okay, when we're talking about what happened in that sequence, was saying, I'm surprised Doran didn't take his timeouts here.
You and me both, brother.
You don't get paid as much as Doran. I don't get paid as much as Doran. The announcer, all 3 of us combined, don't get paid as much as Doran. My question is this. What is the obsession with taking those timeouts to have? This isn't some NFL Streaks challenge where it's like, we'll throw on 5 points for every timeout you take into that. This is no such thing that I know of is happening. So why are we so reluctant to just say, oh, it's at the end of the half? Yeah, let's go ahead and take a timeout. And here's my biggest gripe with that. At that time, I believe the stats go something along the lines of we were averaging about 10.6 per pass and nearly 7 per run going into that time. So if you save yourself 2 minutes, if you save yourself a minute and a half, because in college, the clock stops to reset the sticks when you get a first down. A minute and a half is a lifetime. That is a lifetime.
Yeah.
But that type of stuff, the play calling before that, it's a little disappointing, but I ain't crazy mad at it because we were running the ball well, 4 minutes left. I'm not mad at you running the ball if we're running the ball super well and they get a couple stops. I'm cool with that. and then third down, for whatever reason, the pass doesn't go right. I'm okay with that. I promise you I am. I'm not about to sit up here and say everything you do is bad if it doesn't work. There's plenty of stuff where if you try it, if I can see the rationale and it makes sense, I'll go with you. I can see the rationale of the play calling on the drive with 4 minutes left. I can see the rationale of punting it. Cool, fine, no problem. The rationale behind not calling timeouts when they had it, when they're driving in and they're in the red zone at this point. What are you doing? What are you doing? Once that 2 minute warning passes, I know that they don't want to call it, they want to call it something different. It's a 2 minute warning. It's mama named a 2 minute warning. I'm gonna call it a 2 minute warning.
That's right.
When a 2 minute warning passes, hey, timeout. And if they can still bleed the clock off that, let them. But the reality is you should have called timeouts right there. And then when you got to the other side of it, give your offense a chance so that you're not stuck with 12 seconds. And the only thing you can do is, well, let's see if inside zone cracks for something big. And if it doesn't, well, we'll just go into halftime. That, to me, is at minimum, a 10-point swing. At minimum. Because instead of being down 3 or being up 4, you now go into halftime down 10. Instead of just being even to where you were before.
And teams that are better than Virginia, if you give them that same opportunity, you ain't coming back from that. So, that part was frustrating. Had to be far and away our biggest gripe of the game. We're not complaining that much today. We won. We're happy with the win. Coming up next, we'll round out our Saturday live show with the team finding a way to win and what that means moving forward for the Wolfpack. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second sponsor of our Saturday live show is FanDuel. The NFL season is now here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, it's simply the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com in order to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. If it hits, $300 in bonus bets guaranteed. Head on over to FanDuel.com in order to get started today. Last couple minutes of our Saturday post-game live show. NC State defeats the UVA Cavaliers 35-31. I was overly so impressed with the offense that's where I'll start this last block here. You talk about finding a way to win, and everyone talks about Dave being conservative. By nature, that is who he is. I do want to give him some credit because in that fourth quarter, you are on your side of the field. In fact, I think you're inside your own, what was it 30? Yeah. Inside our own 30. 4th and 1, bringing out the freshman Will Wilson to run the Wildcat. You don't do that unless you got a sack. You got some balls on you. It takes some cojones.
Some testicular fortitude, as they say.
It takes some cojones to pull off something like that, especially with the way that your defense had been playing up to that point. Giving Virginia the ball on your own 30 with 3 minutes left or 4 minutes left, however many minutes it was. That one might have ended differently for NC State today, but you got to give credit for Dave. Kenton had a great tweet. He said, "Y'all not going to call me conservative after today." That was a great tweet. That mindset is what we haven't been seeing for 13 years. I had tweeted, this drive, this separates the winners from the losers. Who does NC State want to be today? And they did enough that it pushed them down the field. Still had to punt, but Virginia was going to have to go the length of the field to beat you. Certainly wish we didn't have to give it back to them. Maybe kick a field goal or score a touchdown and put it out that way. But the aggressiveness there, I think it made a bigger difference than people want to give Dave credit for. And so the overall offensive play calling today, again, for me, I think it was like a solid A-. They called a great game today. The guys executed it. CJ Bailey had an excellent game today. I do think this was his best game yet, so love to see that moving forward. They came out and they wanted to win there in the fourth quarter. They went and got it done.
One thing that I want to make clear is I don't want this podcast to be a podcast of always nitpicking. At the end of the day, if we find ways to win, we find ways to win. If we go 12-0 and we just keep up shenanigans and we allow 500 yards per game, but we just score enough, I'm happy. I'm happy. And I want to make that clear. Okay. I want to make that more evident than anything else. A win is better than a loss. And this is a win against a Power 4 team that you did not jump out to a lead and then had to, claw your way back after letting them back into it or anything like that. I will say a win is a win, and I'm going to treat this team, if they continue to win in an ugly duckling fashion, each win is like a baby. It's yours. It's beautiful, okay? It may look funny to some other people. Some people may say it looks like a little potato. Some people may say it looks like a little alien, but it's your baby, and you're going to love it. So that's how I'm going to treat these wins, because I'm not going to lie to you. I said that this team would be over 8 or under 5. I stand by that. And it's still to be seen where this team lands on that spectrum, because I wanted to say, after game 1, I felt good about, this is the under 5 scenario. But after today, just finding a way to fight, finding a way to compete, finding a way to win, I don't know. I don't know, man. The offense looked good. The defense got you just enough, which, again, that is what I need from this defense more than anything else. Just get there. Just give me enough. I don't need you to hold teams to 10. I don't need you to hold teams to 20. Just give me enough. Keep it close. Keep it, keep defense, keep offenses somewhat in check. The 24 points and a half, unacceptable. I don't want to see that again. I don't ever want to see that again. However, if you tell me 31 for a game, I'll live with that. I'll live with that. I'm okay with that. So I look at this and I say they found a way to win, and that is the most important thing here. You found a way to win a game against an ACC team. Let's be very honest about that, right? While it may not count towards our ACC standings or anything like that, you found a way to beat an ACC team. You did. That's a big-time deal there. I'm going to celebrate the win. I'm going to be excited about the win. Are there things to clean up? Of course. But CJ is looking better and better by the day. The running game seems to have figured out, at least Mike Souls in the game. And we are seeing a lot of really good things. Jolie is being the guy that we know he can be when he is targeted. The wide receiver room is as deep and as talented as we said. Who could have guessed? Who could have known? And our edge rushers have been a beautiful surprise. Defensive backs, linebackers, interior defensive line, beautiful gowns. But everybody else, you're doing what you need to do. Those groups that were just mentioned, let's just get better every week, right? Let's just get better every week. Let's be opportunistic and take the ball away when we get the chance. But again, I'm never going to be upset about a Power 4 win.
No, absolutely not. And whether it is non-conference or a conference game, which is, again, it's so weird that this was a non-conference game, but it counts the same in the record book. NC State is 2-0. There's so much more I want to talk about, but I do think we should leave a little bit of meat on the bone for Monday's show. We'll call it there. Thank you all so much for joining us, as always, on these post-game lives. One of our favorite things to do with this entirety of the podcast, getting on here and seeing everyone interact in the live chat. Thank you all for joining us. NC State does beat UVA 35-31. Coming up next will be a Thursday night game against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons way out in Winston-Salem. It's been our bugaboo in the past, but we'll have to see if you can go on the road and win your first road contest of the season. That will do it for us here. Saturday post-game live. Again, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll catch you right back here on Monday for much more detail of this win over Virginia. But until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.